Greetings and welcome to the Ohio softball field in Athens for midweek action. The Ohio Bobcats get set to host the Toledo Rockets. And happening on the field right now, it is Ohio's Autism Awareness Game. So some first pitches being thrown out, including pitching coach Derek Brown's son, Gibson, who just threw to Yasmin Logan. With Chloe G, I'm Sam Hyman. Glad you're with us on Bobcat TV. Chloe, pretty cool moment there, especially for Derek Brown's son, Gibson. He's a fan favorite in that clubhouse.
Yeah, and I mean, he threw a heater in there. All three of them did. Really nice way to start off the game, especially during Autism Awareness Night.
Absolutely. So Toledo will bat first. We'll dive into this Ohio team, Chloe. The Bobcats tied for first place in the MAC with Miami and Central Michigan, two teams that took 2 out of 3 against Ohio. But the Bobcats got some time to rest, recharge. This is their first game since April 15th, and that break couldn't have come at a better time.
Yeah, like you mentioned, 9 days. They've been able to kind of take their team back to the basics, which is something that Coach Hall really spoke about. And one of the things that she means by that is she wants to take a look at the small things, the signs. They want to get back to good base running. And they really have been struggling to get that lead out whenever they played Northern Illinois. So that has been her biggest emphasis on things she wants her team to work on. Yeah,
and again, Ohio is still in position to potentially host the MAC tournament, but tied with Miami and Central Michigan right now. On the flip side, Toledo, they sit in 7th place in the MAC. They are playing maybe their best softball in conference play of late. They've won 4 out of 5.
I think one person to attribute that to is Leah Munson. She's leading off to bat right now for the Rockets, but in the last 5 games, her batting average is .437 with 3 home runs, including 2 in the last game, as well as 6 RBIs. And Coach Bracamonte also mentioned that when Leah Munson's at her best, the team as a whole is at their best. So she's really going to have to come out with a punch right here to start off this game.
Yeah, she came out with a punch to close out the series last weekend with 2 homers as she cracks this one down the left field line. Long run towards the wall, and what a catch, Belle Hummel. That is out number 1 to start the top of the first inning as we are underway at the Ohio softball field, game 1 of 3 in the midweek.
Hummel really showing some speed out there. I mean, she couldn't stop herself, slammed into that left field wall. I think that was a nice little grab right there for Hummel.
Skip Miller is in the circle for the Bobcats, making her 22nd start of the season. Early swings consecutively. Leah Munson swung at the first pitch. Anna Dixon fouls this first pitch off. Skip Miller, 4th in the MAC with a 2.73 ERA. This pitching matchup is one that you are going to want to pay close attention to. This is looped down the left field line. Belle Hummel has been busy early. She makes 2 nice catches in foul ground to begin the top of the first.
I mean, that's one thing you mentioned. Both of those first 2, Leah Munson and Anna Dixon, jumping on those pitches. That's one thing about the Toledo team. They're not going to sit back and watch these strikes go by. They're going to attack, and they're going to be aggressive. They've just shown that all throughout the season. Yeah,
that's a great point. This is a team in Toledo that puts the ball in play. They don't strike out a lot. In fact, they strike out the fewest among all MAC teams, as that's in their first strike to Jenna Kroll, the DP, hitting 3rd. Joining Belle Hummel defensively, Yasmin Logan's in center. CC Keitel is the right fielder. Shelby Wessler, a freshman, at 3rd base, as this is fouled to the right side. Sydney Grind plays short. Tori O'Brien, the second baseman. Alexis Daw is at first, and Emma Hoffner does the catching for Ohio.
Two quick strikes here already to Jenna Kroll. See what Miller delivers.
That's on the outside part of the plate, popped up and gets out of play. Again, this Toledo team, they really do a great job of making the defense work. Their last 5 games during that stretch we alluded to, they've won 4 out of their last 5. They have only struck out 2.2 times per game in those 5 games before this one. That's up and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes with 2 outs here in the top of the first inning, just getting started. Toledo and Ohio, game 1 of 3.
I mean, it's interesting. Both of those hits Neither one of them is foul or were fair. I mean, all the hits we've seen off the bat so far have been foul balls, and that might just be Skip Miller's movement she's showing on that ball out there.
Yeah, Skip Miller, one of the best pitchers in the league. She's got a 3-pitch arsenal, primarily fastball, curveball, changeup. And she's only a sophomore, which I think is the scariest part. She has so much room to grow. And Jenna Hall said, and she's probably thought this throughout the course of the season, but she mentioned it after the Ohio State game, is that she's only scratching the surface with her potential.
Yeah, and I mean, Ohio, in the last couple years, they kind of struggled on a front with their pitchers. So the fact that Skip Miller really is kind of growing in this position, and it is going to be fun to watch her the next 2 years as she really finds herself and finds her rhythm.
2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs in the top of the first. And that is swung on and missed, strike 3. Skip Miller, 3 up, 3 down. And Ohio will bat for the first time in this series when we come back. You're watching some midweek action, Ohio and Toledo, live on Bobcat. We are back at the Ohio softball field. Glad you're with us. Alongside Chloe G, I'm Sam Hyman on Bobcat TV. We are deadlocked at 0 heading into the bottom of the first inning. And Chloe, this is what we are going to expect. We mentioned the score 0-0. No, it's early, but a pitcher's duel is certainly in the cards today. Skip Miller spun a 1-2-3 top of the first. Aaron Hunt is also one of the best pitchers in the MAC.
Yeah, she has the lowest ERA at 2.35. She had a great series last weekend. She started 2 games against Northern Illinois with 9 strikeouts through both of those games. So it's safe to say she's just really in her groove right now, and Ohio's going to have to really be aggressive and jump out on her pitches if they want to get something started here.
Belle Hummel, the freshman, leads off for the Bobcats, and that is bounced off of Hunt's mitt, and Belle Hummel is safe. She is one of the fastest players on this team. Coach Hall mentioned it in the preseason. Belle Hummel can flat out fly. We saw her track down 2 fly balls and foul ground in the top of the first. And then as a slap hitter, as long as she puts it in play, it's going to be a tough situation for the defense.
Yeah, and I mean, jumping out on that first pitch, that's what Ohio's going to want to do. And the way it just took that hop, it was just a little bit out of reach right there for Hunt. Beautiful execution right there from Hummel.
That misses just outside. 1 ball and no strikes to Yasmin Logan, the junior center fielder. Aaron Hunt making her 25th start of the season. She's 11-12, 5 shutouts, and more than 150 innings. Hummel takes off for second, and she's thrown out. Quick release from Aubrey Reed behind home plate, and Sydney Griffith applies the tag, so Hummel is off the base paths.
Wow, what a bang heads up play right there for Toledo. I think Coach Hall's coming out to talk with the umpire, see if she can maybe argue this one. And we see Hummel trotting back to second base. I'm not really sure if you can dispute something like that.
We'll see. She is standing at second base, like you mentioned.
But Ohio, you could really tell they were planning something when you saw Yaz Logan kind of show that bunt. But Aubrey Reed down there behind the plate was able to pick up on that one early. I mean, beautiful execution. And it is hard to throw players out, especially at second.
And it looks like the argument will not work. So Hummel is retired. Aubrey Reed, one of those veterans on the Toledo team. Aubrey Reed and Aaron Hunt were a part of the 2019 Toledo Rockets squad that won the MAC tournament championship. And that is your pitcher and your catcher today, if you are a Toledo fan.
And Coach Bracamonte's had to say about Aubrey Reed that she has kind of found her rhythm recently. What we saw her do in early fall is finally coming to life, especially on her offensive side. But, hey, she showed beautiful defense right there.
Most definitely, as that is in there for a strike. 3-1 to Yasmin Logan. Logan this season hitting .307 in 39 starts. 4 triples to lead the team. And she's working on a 6-game hitting streak.
And triples, it isn't an easy feat to get. I mean, you've got to really be fast to be able to get all the way around there to third. But she's got a full count now after sitting at 3-0.
The payoff pitch, and Logan waits on it. Launches it high in the air, down the left field line, and that ball is just foul. Just foul. Jenna Hall cannot believe it. It looked like it went over top of the foul pole. I mean, the wind was blowing from right to left if you're sitting behind home plate. That softball, though, appeared to maybe go straight over the foul pole. Really tough to tell from where we're sitting.
Yeah, I think we're getting a little bit of an interesting angle at it, but, oh, man, that one has to hurt for Yas Logan. I could tell as soon as that one came off, it was going. It was just a little bit high, but I think you're right. It kind of carried just barely foul. That one has to hurt. So
we'll do it again, a full count with 1 out in the bottom of the first inning. Ohio and Toledo playing game 1 of 3 during the midweek. These two teams will play a doubleheader tomorrow, and this is such a critical part of the season. The Bobcats are tied for first in the MAC with Central Michigan and Miami, with a 14-6 record in league play. But those two teams, Miami and Central Michigan, own the head-to-head tiebreak against Ohio because they took 2 out of 3 earlier against the Bobcats this season. So it's important that Ohio just focuses on themselves and let the chips fall where they may.
Yep, some of these things are a little bit out of their control, but what they need to focus on is just winning their games and doing those small things right, like Coach Hall has said.
Logan waits on it again. It's skied in the air to just in front of the circle. First baseman Riley Moore makes the catch, and that is out number 2. Let's meet the rest of the defense surrounding Aaron Hunt, the pitcher. Left to right in the outfield, Leah Munson. Lauren Erickson is in center. Anna Dixon is the right fielder. Kendra Vanderlucht is making just her 2nd start of the season. She's at third. Sydney Griffith is the shortstop. Aaliyah Mara at 2nd. As Alexis Daw takes outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Riley Moore, the first baseman, and Aubrey Reed, the graduate student, does the catching.
Leah Moore, the one to pick up that last out for the Rockets.
Check swing, and Daw did not go around, so the count is 2 balls and no strikes to Alexis Daw, who's having a fabulous senior season, hitting .369. That's 6th in the league.
Dahl is just one of those hitters. She gets up to bat, and it's going to make a defense scared because she not only does she have a high batting average, but she has power behind every single hit that she makes.
She's also driven in 24 runs this season. 3-0 pitch is upstairs. 4-pitch walk. And that is going to bring up Emma Hoffner, the sophomore catcher for Ohio.
It's the 13th time that Alexis Dahl has been able to draw a walk on the season.
Yeah, just like Toledo, this is an Ohio team that doesn't strike out a lot as well. Put the ball in play. They have excellent discipline. I go back to that signature win earlier this season against Ohio State. On the road, Ohio drew 8 walks in that game. And they were really taking pitches in such clutch moments as this is blasted well foul. Emma Hoffner showing off her power.
She was all up in front of that pitch. I think that might have been an off-speed one from Hunt that she likes to throw a lot. She likes to switch it up and keep these batters on their toes, but Emma Hoffner she would have waited just a hair longer. Maybe that would have stayed fair.
That's inside. 2 balls and 1 strike with 2 outs in the bottom of the first inning. We did speak with Toledo head coach Jessica Bracamonte in her first season, and she did say Erin Hunt loves to keep hitters off balance, mixing pitches. But she said the important thing for Hunt is she has to attack the zone early. Right now behind in the count 3-1.
That's what I was going to mention. She said she has to get started early, and she's kind of struggling. I mean, they've had 2 runners on base so far, and yeah, they got Belle Hummel out, but they're letting Ohio do it.
Grounded towards third. Vanderlucht bobbles it, but she does make the play, and that will end the inning. So we are through 1 here at the Ohio softball field. No score, Bobcats and the Rockets. Game 1 of our 3-game series here in the MAC. We'll be back in a moment on Bobcat TV. And we welcome you back to the Ohio softball field alongside Chloe G. I'm Sam Hyman. Good matchup between the Bobcats and the Rockets. A matchup between 2 first-year head coaches, Jenna Hall with Ohio, coming over from Pittsburgh, and Jessica Bracamonte, first-year head coach at Toledo. She spent 4 seasons as an assistant coach at Duke. There actually are 4 first-year head coaches in the league coming into the 2023 season. Pretty awesome for the league to have a kind of a fresh crop of very energized coaches for this league.
Yeah, it is very nice, and I think both of these coaches, I mean,
this is popped up behind home plate. Emma Hoffner battling the net. That's strike 1.
well, despite it being their first year, I think they both are finding some success in their own ways. I mean, Jenna Hall bringing the team up to first in the MAC, and then Bracamonte having them going about 500 in MAC play. But last year, Toledo had a little bit of a down year, so she's kind of been able to come into this program and pick things up and turn things around for them.
Riley Moore at the plate for Toledo. The first baseman takes the off speed and hits the top of the zone. Strike 2.
That was a beautiful pitch right there, delivered from Skip Miller. Miller out there rocking the sunglasses today. It's a beautiful day for a softball game.
No doubt, and Ohio certainly itching to get back to playing the opposition. That's something Coach Hall said a couple of days ago, is it feels like it's time after the long break, 9 days, able to get back and regather that mojo.
Yeah, I'm sure it was nice to have that break, but I bet every player out there was itching, especially knowing they're sitting there at the top of the MAC and their fate kind of in others' hands.
Swung on and missed for strike 3. Skip Miller has her second strikeout, and she's retired the first 4 batters that she's faced. Yeah, you mentioned earlier about the Toledo struggles last season. They were 12-37 last year, 5-21 in league play. Much better this season with 18 wins and already 11 wins in the MAC compared to 5 last season. As Aubrey Reed gets jammed and Tori O'Brien, the second baseman, makes the catch. 2 quick outs for Skip Miller to start the top of the second inning.
that changeup coming in right there from Skip Miller. You could see the backspin on it, and you could even see it whenever it came off the bat of Aubrey Reed. That's why it just kind of died right there in the middle of the air, just because of that backspin that Miller was able to kind of flip on that ball.
Lauren Erickson bats for Toledo, the junior from Dublin, Ohio. And she watches that one settle in there for a called strike. 0-1. Erickson hitting .317 this season in 34 starts. Here comes the 0-1. And this is pulled on the ground. Shelby Wessler gobbles it up, fires to first. And another 1-2-3 inning for Skip Miller. She's retired the first 6 batters she's faced. Bobcats back to bat. When we come back, you're watching Toledo and Ohio on Bobcat TV. Analia Paoli leads things off for Ohio as we start the bottom of the second inning at the Ohio softball field alongside Chloe G. I'm Sam Hyman. Paoli rips this one behind home plate, and the count is 0-1. Bobcats coming into this game 24-18 overall, 14-6 in MAC play. They have eclipsed their win total from a season ago. They're sitting tied atop the league with that 14-6 conference record. What has impressed you the most about the Bobcats from what you've seen so far this season?
For me personally, I think it's just their sheer offense. They have just been absolutely powerful. And whenever they played Kent State a few series ago, they had 13 runs in 1 inning. I mean, that's not easy to do as a D1 program. They're just been insane offensively, and I think that goes back to the coaching staff and just being able to trust that you know what you're doing.
Yeah, Jenna Hall has assembled a really good staff in her first season as Paoli lines this one. Look at Vanderlucht making her second start of the season. Heads up play over there for out number 1.
Yeah, Vanderlucht, whenever you aren't getting very many appearances on the field, you got to make every moment
Got to be
count.
ready, right?
And I think Vanderlucht did exactly that, kind of snagging that one, because if she missed that, it would have probably been kind of deep over there for Sydney Griffith. Been harder play.
Here's Sydney Grind, the junior shortstop who takes a strike. But yeah, I mentioned this staff, Jenna Hall, Lily Piper in her first season. She was a volunteer assistant coach at Michigan State last year. She's not only coaching, she's also playing for Athletes Unlimited this summer. And it was a 3-time All-American at Ohio State. And then Derek Brown, the pitching coach, has 30 years of coaching experience across multiple levels as Grind rips this one down the left field line. It's just foul. That was a great piece of hitting there from Sydney Grind, who's known for an elite arm at shortstop. Offensively this season, she's hitting .265.
Yep, .265 with 10 RBIs and 1 home run. But, I mean, she got beautifully on that ball. It just, unfortunately, just swayed foul. It seems to be the Bobcats' biggest issue right now is those foul balls.
I was going to say, it feels like Ohio has had a lot of hard hit balls go foul down the left field line. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Aaron Hunt, the pitcher, readies. And that maneuvers upstairs towards the attic for ball 3. 3-2 with 1 out in the bottom of the second inning. Ohio and Toledo playing game 1 of 3 during the midweek.
And while it isn't great for them that the balls are going foul, they know that they're getting on it, and they're getting on base like we see now with Sydney Grine out there at first. They're getting on base. They just need to keep chipping away and like in the words of Coach Hall, going back to those basics to get things put together.
Yeah, you mentioned kind of the basics and those small things. Coach Hall really highlighted that, especially when the Bobcats went on that winning streak. Shelby Wessler takes a strike, 0-1. She said, you know, when you start to get deeper and deeper into a winning streak, that's where you tend to forget that the small things help you get to that point. As Wessler lines this one down the left field line, it is a fair ball. And the Bobcats in business with runners at first and second. Shelby Wessler, the freshman third baseman, delivers. And there's still only 1 out, and here comes the right fielder, C.C. Keidel.
Finally, something stays foul there for Ohio, and that one just flew right over the head of Vanderlucht over there at third. Unfortunate for her, but nice piece of hitting to get things started here early in the second inning for Ohio.
Yeah, just 1 out. C.C. Keidel, the sophomore right fielder, awaits, and that misses inside. 1 ball and no strikes. We talked about it coming in, but this matchup features 2 of the best pitchers in the league. Aaron Hunt has the best ERA, a 2.35 clip for the Rockets, as the 1-0 is popped up behind first base. That's going to drop. Throw from Moore to second is in time. A force out apply. Grine advances to third. Wessler is out at second. And C.C. Keidel reaches on a fielder's choice. So 2 down. Kind of a confusing situation there, Chloe, with what thought was probably going to be a pop-out, but Riley Moore was playing in, and so she had to retreat, and it was just a tough situation for her. And now there are 2 outs.
Yeah, and I'm kind of wondering why that wasn't considered an infield fly rule. A little bit confusing, but yeah, that is an interesting situation. And fortunately for Shelby Wessler, there's really nothing you can do. Just try to run it out.
And she did get out on the force. So here's Tori O'Brien, the junior second baseman. Runners at the corners. Ohio trying to strike first. O'Brien, a slap hitter, is ahead in the count, 2-0.
Now, despite Tori O'Brien being at the bottom of the lineup, she is hitting .329 on the season, which is a stellar batting average. I think they kind of utilized her there at the bottom to get things back to the top, because Coach Hall said earlier in the season they need all their lineup to hit, not just the first 4. When they're hitting all the way through the lineup.
No doubt, and Tori O'Brien is a person that really does a great job of putting the ball in play. She has not struck out in the last 12 games. And her batting average has climbed up year after year. She fouls this one off the pole behind home plate. The prior 2 seasons, Chloe, she hit 185 and 138, and this season, as you mentioned, up to 329, so much improved in that area. And also, according to her, when I chatted with her several weeks ago, she said she's grown on in the field as well with her versatility as she knocks this one foul. Count is still 2 balls and 2 strikes. She was primarily a third baseman in high school and has moved over to second.
Well, I think when you're as fast as somebody like Tori O'Brien, you are utilized there in those middle infield spots, and being able to get those balls a lot quicker than someone that may play first or third.
2-2, O'Brien knocks this in the air, shallow center field. Lauren Erickson makes the catch, and that ends the bottom of the second inning. Ohio makes a little bit of noise, but we are still scoreless. Bobcats and the Rockets will be back for the top of the third next on Bobcat TV. All right, we're back here at the Ohio softball field. Some midweek action, Toledo and Ohio. Back with Chloe G. I'm Sam Hyman. The Rockets sitting in 7th in league play. Home stretch of the season with the conference tournament coming your way the weekend of May 11th. Hard to believe that it's almost here, but there's still so much to be decided. And for Ohio, Chloe, they have an opportunity, as long as they keep winning, to put themselves in position to potentially host that conference tournament.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about it all game long. There's just so many what-ifs right now along the conference. But, I mean, that keeps things interesting between the MAC. You just go into a game and you just never know what the outcome's going to be like.
Here's Kendra Vanderlucht, sophomore third baseman, playing in just her 8th game of the season, her 2nd start. She's 2 for 9 at the plate this season. Typically, Jenna Kroll is the person that plays third base for this team, but she's the DP, as Vanderlucht fooled on the off speed from Skip Miller. And you kind of went back in your chair a little bit there, Chloe. That is an example of Skip Miller utilizing her 3 pitches.
Yeah, I mean, that was just no other word for it than just a nasty, nasty changeup right there from Skip Miller. And whew, not much you can do to fend that off.
Here's the 1-1. And Vanderlucht smashes it back to the net. 1 ball and 2 strikes. As we are still scoreless, Skip Miller has been in charge so far today. The sophomore has retired the first 6 batters.
Yep, and we mentioned it all game long. I mean, this was going to be a pitcher's duel. And although Ohio did make a little bit of noise, and they've had base runners both innings so far.
Vanderlucht reaches out. Sydney Grine rockets it over to first in time. And that's 7 up, 7 down for Skip Miller.
But yeah, Ohio's been able to get some base runners on and make a little bit of noise, and they even had a runner at third last inning, but they haven't been able to bring anybody home. But Toledo, so far, they're putting the ball in play. They've had 2 strikeouts, but unfortunately for them, it's just going right to the players. And Belle Hummel, especially in the first inning, making some stellar moves out there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she was busy. She retired the first 2. Here's Aaliyah Mara, launches this one down the left field line. Speaking of Belle Hummel, there she is once again for her 3rd putout of the game. And Mara, the Rutgers transfer, is retired on 1 pitch. That's another thing I feel like we've noticed early in this game, Chloe, is Toledo is swinging at that first pitch a lot in this one.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, they aren't the type of team to sit back and wait for it to come. They want to attack it, but I kind of think it's not playing in their favor so far, and they're not exactly making things easy out there on Belle Hummel. She's covered a lot of ground so far early in this. All 3 of the ones she's caught out there have been in foul territory.
No doubt. Showcasing that speed as Sydney Griffith, the shortstop, at the plate for the Rockets, making her 39th start of the season, hitting .237. 2-sport athlete in high school, softball and volleyball. She takes outside for ball 1, 1-1. Toledo has not much time left to try and climb up the MAC standings. The top 4 teams will make the MAC tournament the weekend of May 11th. Toledo right now in 7th, as that misses low, and the count's 2 balls and 1 strike. After this series, Toledo will only have 1 MAC regular season series left a week from Saturday, when they'll travel to Western Michigan.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate for them that they're in a bit of a tough spot right now, but, you know, it's Coach Bracamonte's first season, and she still has time.
Looped right behind the circle. Sydney Grime makes the play, and that is quickly a 1-2-3 inning. So easy work. Skip Miller locked in. 9 up, 9 down for the ace of the Bobcat staff. We'll be back in a moment for the bottom of the 3rd inning after this on Bobcat TV. Pitchers duel so far here at the Ohio softball field as we welcome you back to Athens, Ohio. Alongside Chloe G, I'm Sam Hyman, live on Bobcat TV as the Bobcats look to make some noise here in the bottom of the third inning. They've had some chances early in this game, Chloe, but have not been able to push a run across. You feel like this game is probably going to be decided by 1 or 2 runs, given that we have 2 of the top pitchers in the league.
Yeah, I mean, unless there's a big breakout here down the stretch. But one of those chances was Belle Hummel. She got on the first pitch with a little bouncer over Aaron Hunt's head. But then a couple pitches later, she tried to steal second, and Aubrey Reed was not lacking and caught her stealing. That was just one of the opportunities.
She was ready, no question about it, as Hummel takes a strike. Hummel, one of 2 freshmen in Jenna Hall's lineup.
Compared to Toledo, who doesn't have any freshmen in their lineup.
Hummel whacks this foul.
I was going to say, I think Belle Hummel has done more than enough to prove herself this season.
Oh, yeah. She's been phenomenal. She's hitting above 300 as a freshman from Cincinnati, Ohio, and has stolen 13 bases this season in 16 attempts. As that misses outside, and the count is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, she's not one of the power hitters for the team, but she's just one of those hitters that puts it in play and uses her speed to her advantage to get on base. And, I mean, that's exactly what she did earlier on in the game.
And she fouls that one into Aubrey Reed's mitt, so that is strike 3. Erin Hunt has her first strikeout. Took a little while. We're in the 3rd inning, but Hunt has picked up her 612th strikeout of her career. That is second most. I'll say it again, 612 career strikeouts at Toledo. That is second all-time in program history for the graduate student, as Yasmin Logan takes inside, 1 ball and no strikes.
Yeah, that's an amazing feat right there for Erin Hunt. And, I mean, looking at it, I think the person with the number 1 spot was all the way back in, like, 1984 to 87 when they were around. So it's safe to say Erin Hunt's one of the best pitchers that's come through Toledo in a long, long while.
Yeah, she has been certainly a huge part of this program in the recent years, as Logan takes outside for a ball. 2-1. Erin Hunt, again, she was part of that 2019 MAC tournament championship team and was the MVP of the tournament through 37 1/3 innings in that tournament in 2019, as Logan grounds this one towards third. Vanderlucht vacuums it up and chucks it to first. And 2 quick outs to start the bottom of the 3rd.
That brings Alexis Dahl to the plate. We talked about her early in the game and just her absolute power and hold she has over this team. But
yeah, she walked her last time up. We'll see if she's able to put the ball in play, make something happen. She's really done a great job this season with her approach.
Hunt opts for the off speed for the first pitch. Came in for a strike to Dahl.
2 down here in the bottom of the 3rd. Alexis Dahl watches that one settle in, and that is strike 2. Erin Hunt looking for her 2nd strikeout of the game, as we are still scoreless here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Hunt fires, swung on and missed, strike 3, and that is 3 up, 3 down for Erin Hunt. Toledo's ace starting to get in rhythm as we remain scoreless heading to the top of the 4th inning. Ohio and Toledo in our series opener from the Ohio softball field. We'll be back in just a moment on Bobcat TV. Skip Miller back in the circle for the Bobcats as we welcome you back to the Ohio softball field alongside Chloe G. I'm Sam Hyman on Bobcat TV. Ohio fresh off a 9-day layoff. They still practiced, got things recharged, regroup after a nice stretch of time with no games. Good rest period for Jenna Hall's team. But now business to take care of as Skip Miller fires a fastball inside on the corner for a strike to Leah Munson, a senior left fielder who flew out her first time up and swung at the first pitch in her first at-bat. This time she takes.
Yep, Munson very well could be the spark that this Toledo offense needs right here. I mean, 9 in a row. They need to get something happening, get the ball rolling if they want to do some damage. But, I mean, we've been talking about a pitcher's duel all game long.
Yeah,
so
certainly was. On paper, you look at these two pitchers, and, yes, it's got all the makings of a low-scoring affair. 1 ball and 1 strike. Skip Miller delivers, and that is drilled back. Munson right on it. And the count's 1 ball and 2 strikes. We mentioned it earlier, but one of the biggest adjustments recently for this Toledo team is moving Leah Munson to the top of the order. She has hit leadoff now in 6 straight games and had a really good series this past weekend against Northern Illinois where she hit 2 home runs in 1 game. This is flown into left. Belle Hummel again very busy over there. Busy day at the office for Belle with her 4th putout.
yep, 4th put out, and the second one that Munson. That brings Anna Dixon to bat now.
Dixon, the 5th-year senior, flew out her first time up. And this is whacked. Great play. Sydney Grind on 1 hop, throws to first, not in time, but Grind just to be able to knock that down was very impressive. That was a hard hit ball from Anna Dixon. And
wow.
That will be the first base runner of the game for the Rockets.
Wow, I mean, I thought for sure that one was getting out there to center field, but Sid Grind being able to get her glove on it. And I mean, despite her not being able to kind of make that play, it's still very impressive.
And that was such a hard hit ball. It certainly is going to be an infield single. And it is for Anna Dixon. So that is the first hit and the first base runner of the game for Toledo. And this is the meat of Toledo's lineup. Jenna Kroll, who has a team-high 8 home runs on the season. She's at the plate right now. Struck out her first time up. The 0-1 pitch, and Kroll takes low. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Kroll also has a team-high 24 RBIs, tied with Riley Moore. Good opportunity for her to, make something happen here for the Rockets. She's started all 40 games.
Open stance in the righty batter's box as that is upstairs. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Sid Grind must have thought that Dixon was going to steal because she sure ran over to second pretty fast.
And that pitch was upstairs, and Hoffner appeared to have maybe called it that way because as soon as it was thrown, she jumped out of her crouch. That's going to hit the outside corner for a called strike. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes to Jenna Kroll, the junior from Commerce, Michigan. Miller deals, and Kroll lines this one into right field. That is down. Rounding second, Anna Dixon charges for third without a throw. And the Rockets are in business with runners at first and third, 1 out for Riley Moore.
That one was, I don't know how to explain it. It could have been possible to get that runner out at third. I mean, it seemed like Dixon maybe got a little bit of a late jump on it, but Ohio ultimately decided to keep things at second. as Riley Moore comes to bat. And like you said, Toledo really is getting into the meat of their lineup.
Oh, yeah. And now we are going to get a pinch runner at first base. Erica Reed, who is Aubrey Reed's sister. Aubrey Reed is on deck for Toledo. Riley Moore is at the plate for the Rockets, and time is called as Derek Brown makes his way out towards the circle. Derek Brown, by the way, playing against his former team. He actually spent a season with Toledo last season as an assistant coach. That was before Jessica Bracamonte took over the program.
Yeah, I always wonder what coaches feel like in those situations when you go from one team to another and then have to play them. But I think that was a good called timeout right there for Ohio. I mean, one out, they got a runner on, and they have 2 hits in a row now. They kind of need to take a deep breath if they want to get out of this one.
Corner infielders are in. Skip Miller retired the first 10 batters she faced, and now in a little bit of trouble. Anna Dixon reached on an infield single. Jenna Kroll singled into right field. Now here's Riley Moore, and that pops away from Hoffner to the backstop, flips it to Miller, and the tag is late. Toledo strikes first. It's 1-0 Rockets.
And that is exactly what Ohio did not want to happen. You could tell they had their middle infield pushed in a little bit. They wanted to protect that plate. I think what they were trying to do there is Skip Miller was trying to pitch out, draw the runner to second so that they could attack home. But, you know, it was just a little too far away, and you try to strategize, and then you have room for error.
So Erica Reed is at second base. Still only 1 out. Riley Moore bounces this one left side. Backhand. Sydney Grind shows off the arm. And that is a crucial out number 2. Meanwhile, Erica Reed, the pinch runner, advances to third. And this will bring up Aubrey Reed, who will look to drive in her sister, Erica, who's at third base.
Yeah, and back to that throw from Sid Grind. She was deep in that hole there. And you could just really see it in her body. She was really trying to put the heat behind that one. And not even to mention Alexis Dahl over there at first. She had to kind of get that one at an awkward angle to save it. A good scoop over there from her.
Yeah, I asked Jenna Hall about Sydney Grind's defense, and Coach Hall said her progress from the fall to now has been very impressive. As that is a called strike to Aubrey Reed. In addition to that comment Coach Hall made about Sydney Grind's defense, she also talked about how Sydney Grind is now trusting more that she can move and get to certain balls that seem out of reach and a bit far for her to get to, but with her arm, no matter where she goes, left or right to get to a ball, she still has an opportunity every time to make that throw to first because of how good her arm is. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Aubrey Reed. Graduate student awaits. 1-2 is popped up down the right field line. Cece Keidel makes a basket catch up against the wall, and that ends the top of the 4th inning. But the Rockets grab the first run of the game on a wild pitch from Skip Miller. It's 1-0 heading into the bottom of the 4th inning after this in our series opener between the Rockets and Bobcats, live on Bobcat TV. And we're back. Welcome to the Ohio softball field. If you're just joining us, we've been witnessing a very intense pitcher's duel. Right now, 1-0 in favor of the Rockets behind a wild pitch. Skip Miller went 10 up, 10 down to begin this game. Now Aaron Hunt is pitching with a lead. How much do you think mentally that can help someone like Aaron Hunt, even though it's just a one-run game?
Yeah, I mean, Ohio, they were, kind of showing off their bats earlier. Although they weren't able to bring anybody in, they were at least getting on base. But that last inning, 2 strikeouts in a single inning and getting the other batter out, that has to feel good if you're Aaron Hunt out there. And maybe she's kind of finding her groove. And I think it will give you a little bit more confidence out there in the circle.
Emma Hoffner, a favorable 2-0 count to begin the bottom of the 4th inning. She grounded out her first time up. Comes into this game second on the team with a .348 batting average. 2-0 is down in the basement. 3 balls and no strikes. And Aaron Hunt is in danger of walking her 3rd batter of the game.
Yeah, she's kind of struggled with that, but like we said, I think she benefits if she gets a first pitch strike.
And that is a called strike. Emma Hoffner dropped her bat, thought it was ball 4. We'll do it again.
Hoffner actually has the 2nd highest batting average on the team behind Alexis Stahl at .348, including 1 home run.
Sophomore takes on the outside corner, and the count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Just how quick at-bat can turn around right there with just 2 strikes when she thought she was walking.
And this is a high rocket that's scorched through the left side. Emma Hoffner has a base hit to lead off the bottom of the 4th inning.
I think that was a little bit of an interesting hit because that was an off speed right there from Hunt. And, even Hoffner looked a little bit off balance, kind of chasing it on the outside. So the fact that she was still able to have that amount of power behind that hit is very impressive. And I think just goes to show how much power she can have if she gets a pitch that she really wants.
Yeah, that was up and away, and she still pulled it past the shortstop, Sydney Griffith. So great piece of hitting by Emma Hoffner. This will bring up the very dangerous Analia Paoli.
And Paoli has her walk-up music going, and it sounds dangerous.
Also, pinch runner at first, Emily Walker, the junior from Plain City, Ohio, is at first base. Adds a little bit more speed for Jenna Hall in this situation. It's a big spot here. Ohio has had a couple of opportunities earlier in this game, have not been able to capitalize.
Yeah, but they don't have any outs. Getting through a good part of their lineup.
And Paoli takes a called strike. 1-1.
Seems like they kind of are favoring those low in the zone strikes this game, which, every umpire kind of has their way to go about it, and pitchers sometimes have to adjust, but it seems like he likes them lower.
Here comes the 1-1, and Paoli takes on the outside corner. That looked to be close to a possible ball. Instead, it's 1-2 to Analia Paoli, the junior from Point Marion, Pennsylvania. And she yanks this foul, 3rd base side.
That one was real close to hitting Coach Jenna Hall, it looked like, but she didn't even flinch.
As a 3rd base coach, I'm sure it's on the resume that you got to be used to and fearless of any situation. And you're probably always prepared for it. Paoli stays alive.
She definitely did not want to swing at that one, but hey, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, got to protect in this situation. 1-2 the count. And this is tapped foul. Good at bat here from Analia Paoli, hitting .333 on the season. A team high 10 doubles and 35 RBIs. That's tied for 4th in the Mid-American Conference. The 1-2 pitch is upstairs. 2-2.
I think even though Ohio hasn't scored yet, I think each and every at-bat, the hitters are going in with the mindset of getting a quality at-bat. They're battling.
This is launched high in the air down the left field line and foul. And I think that's one thing that Jenna Hall did mention, and you hear that phrase, that term, quality at bat. She said it after the Ohio State game. She's mentioned it other times throughout the season when I've spoken to her, is they value the quality at bat over necessarily just the hit. Like, hits will come with quality at bats every single time.
Exactly. The more balls you're seeing, the more you're working that pitcher, the more it's going to benefit your own personal game. And I think Ohio is doing a great job, with those quality at-bats. I think Toledo struggled a little bit in the first inning, but they seem to be getting better on that front too.
And the off-speed fools Analia Paoli. Two strikes on Paoli. Thought that was strike three.
I'm not
a little confused.
Sure what just happened.
Yeah. I guess there was only one strike there on Analia Paoli. Now there's certainly two. Count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, I thought she's fouled certainly several times.
Right. Yeah, there definitely were more foul balls prior. But that is a called strike 3, and Paoli can't believe it. And neither can Ohio's dugout. And I think there's a case there, especially that felt like that was a touch inside.
I think everyone's kind of sitting here shaking their heads a little bit, or scratching their heads, I should say, about what really just happened. But, Paoli got out either way, and I guess Sid Grind's up now.
Sydney Grind, the junior from Illinois. That's inside for a ball. That felt like that was the same pitch that Paoli just struck out on. But called a different.
Yeah, but whenever you got 2 strikes on you, the strike zone does get a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Umpires tend to be a little more generous towards the pitcher.
1-0. And Grind fouls this one off. Sydney Grind, a junior from Lincoln Way Central High School in Illinois. She's got a younger sister, Lindsay, who is a pitcher at Virginia Tech, one of the top ACC programs in softball. And she is the second pitcher in that rotation, as that pitch is up and in for a ball, 2-1. And, well, if you've never seen Sydney Grind play, you watch her defensively, Chloe, and that's the biggest thing, is the arm. And it really stands out. It's an electrifying arm over at short. Coach Hall actually told me that she's capable of catching as well. And you can imagine anybody that tries to steal a base on Sydney Grind with that arm, good luck trying to.
Yeah, Emma Hoffner does a great job, but it is nice to know that they do have a backup in case of an injury or you never know what could happen. But, yeah, good luck to you.
Check swing. Grind fouls it off. Count is still 2 balls and 2 strikes. With 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Emma Hoffner led off this inning with a single. Emily Walker is the pinch runner at first. Here comes the 2-2, and it's pulled foul. Aaron Hunt pitched a 1-2-3 bottom of the 3rd. Outside of that, she has had to navigate out of a couple of difficult situations. 1st and 3rd situation back in the 2nd inning. The toughest is Grind fights this one off. We'll do it again. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Sydney Grind.
Yeah, Grind has shown a lot of progress throughout the season, and one thing that Coach said about her is that she is just so coachable like a sponge.
Yep.
And that's something you really want to look for in your players.
This is high and deep down the left field line and foul into the Ohio bullpen.
We talked about how a lot of Ohio's balls are foul, but I think that one might have been to Grind's advantage because out there in center field, she just had a perfect read on that.
2 balls and 2 strikes. to Sydney Grind, who walked her first time up and was stranded at third back in the second inning. And that is going to drop in on the top of the zone for a called strike three. Back-to-back strikeouts for Aaron Hunt. And with two down, the freshman Shelby Wessler comes to the plate.
That's 4 now for Aaron Hunt. And I mean, I think as soon as that one came across, I think Sydney just kind of knew that that was a strike. She turned and started walking. But that was the movement on that ball was just insane, even from up here.
Wessler, first pitch swinging, grounds that one over the third base bag, it looked like, but the home plate umpire says foul ball. That was very close. It certainly bounced about a foot in front of the third base bag in fair ground, and then maybe it angled to the left of the bag, but it looked like it was very close to being a fair ball. Nonetheless, we'll do it again. 0-1 is a called strike, 0-2.
Yeah, that's another kind of tough angle, but I mean, Vander lucked out there, dove all the way on her stomach, and still the ball was out of reach, so maybe it really was foul.
Wessler fights this off, and the count is 0-2 to Shelby Wessler, the freshman third baseman.
Aaron Hunt has done a great job kind of attacking that outside corner.
This time goes way up, 1-2.
Yeah, that one was high, but it was on the outside. But she's been forcing these Ohio batters to kind of chase those outside ones. We talked about how she likes to get ahead in her at-bats, and she's been getting these 2 strikes and then forcing Ohio to kind of chase them.
The 1-2 pitch, and Wessler drives this one high in the air to left field, up, and away! Shelby Wessler, a 2-run blast, gives Ohio a 2-1 lead here in the fourth.
Wow, what a hit by Wessler. I bet she's happy that one was called foul now. Ohio has the lead now.
Unreal right there. Wessler with 2 strikes lifts that up and out of here. The freshman third baseman with her 4th home run of the season. And what a spark out of the 7th spot as the Bobcats now with the momentum, with the energy.
A spark indeed. I mean, 2 outs. Ohio had 2 strikeouts. I think in the dugout they were feeling a little defeated maybe, but whew, what a way to get them up. That one was super high.
Here's CC Keidel, right fielder, whacks that one, look out, into Ohio's dugout.
The reaction time you have to have over there, my goodness.
That was a rocket from CC Keidel. So a 2-1 lead for the Bobcats here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Hunt delivers, and the off-speed settles in there for a called strike. It's 1-2 to CC Keidel. Well, Jenna Hall did say when I asked her about Shelby Wessler, Coach Hall said, I've been very impressed with how clutch she's been. This wasn't the 6th or 7th inning, but it still was a moment where, you know, you have to have some type of momentum go in your direction, and that was so far the turning point. As CC Keidel swings and misses for strike 3. Aaron Hunt does strike out the side, but Shelby Wessler, the freshman third baseman, delivers with a 2-strike, 2-run homer to give the Bobcats a 2-1 advantage. We go to the 5th inning right after this from Athens on Bobcat TV. Shelby Westler delivers here in the 4th inning as we move now to the 5th. Ohio in front, 2-1. Back with Chloe G. I'm Sam Hyman on Bobcat TV. What a moment, especially in a game, Chloe, where every run is so key given how good these pitchers are in Skip Miller and Aaron Hunt.
Yeah, Sam, and you mentioned the word clutch to describe that hit. And like you said, we may not be later in the inning. We might only be about halfway through. But sometimes clutch can be just a momentum changer, and I think that's exactly what that was.
Lauren Erickson smashes this one foul. And the count is 0-1. This has been a competitive game. 2 first-year head coaches, Jenna Hall for Ohio, Jessica Bracamonte in her first season with the Rockets. And we also spoke to her in addition to Jenna Hall and Coach Bracamonte, really emphasizing the fight and resiliency of this team. She said that's the greatest strength of this squad. As that's on the outside corner, called strike, 0-2. Coach Bracamonte said, we talked at the beginning of the Northern Illinois series, that was this past weekend, about how our goal is to be proud of how we play regardless of the result. That's outside. And Chloe, then you asked, well, what'd you tell the team? As that is a called strike. Erickson went around, one away. And then after she said that about how that's the greatest strength of the team, and she's asking that question, are we proud? She asked that question after the victory, even after a win. Are we proud of how we play? Because you can still win and not be proud of how you play.
Very true. And sometimes I think being proud of how you play, you kind of have to take the individual aspect out of it and look at your team as a whole, especially when they had that walk-off win and saying, are you proud? I can almost guarantee those girls were probably pretty proud of how they played. And it's kind of been their motto all season, and I think it's awesome.
Quick timeout as Emma Hoffner chatting with Skip Miller in the circle. That game you're referring to, though, it was the series finale, Toledo against Northern Illinois, and the Rockets won that game in 8 innings. Battled back and found a way.
And a walk-off single to end the game.
Aaliyah Mara, who is on deck for Toledo, collected the walk-off hit. That's a called strike. 0-2.
Walk-offs are a special, special thing in softball because not everybody gets the opportunity to have one. So being able to say you have one under your belt, that's something to brag on for sure.
Here comes the 0-2 pitch. Misses outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Kendra Vanderlucht, the sophomore third baseman, making just her second start of the season. She's 2 for 10 at the plate in 2023. Typically, Jenna Kroll is the starting third baseman, at least recently, but she's the DP today. Jam shot right in front of the circle. Funky spin, so no play to first. O'Brien got there, but by the time it bounced and spun, had a kind of a screwball type of spin to it. Kendra Vanderlucht is aboard, and that is, and it should be an infield single for Vanderlucht.
Hey, I mean, sometimes all you have to do is find a way, and that's exactly what Vanderlucht did right there. And although she did not do that on purpose, but she found a way to get on base for Toledo, and it's big, especially after they already had an out on a strikeout.
Here is Aaliyah Mara, smashes this one to dead center. Yasmin Logan retreats and makes the play shy of the warning track for allowed out number 2. Great adjustment there from Yasmin Logan.
Yeah, that was a hard hit ball off the bat of Mara. If it would have been over maybe 10 feet to the left or right, Yas Logan wouldn't have been able to get there. But unfortunately for Mara, it just was kind of a straight shot.
And the route that she took, her first step was back. Sometimes as an outfielder, you take a couple steps in and then, oh no, you're on your heels. Great route from Yasmin Logan. That's something that the Bobcats practice not only during their actual practice, but in warm-ups before games.
Well, I think that's also what takes a good outfielder to a great outfielder is making sure that first step is back. so many times I've seen an outfitter run in and then they get burned up by a ball. And I think that is what makes Yaz Logan a great outfitter. She knew, take a step back, see where it's going, and then go after it.
Yeah, certainly. Sydney Griffith, the sophomore shortstop at the plate for the Rockets. Two down. 0-2 count. Miller fires, and that is on the outside corner, strike 3. Skip Miller has tossed 5 innings, only 1 run allowed. The Bobcats lead by a score of 2-1, heading into the home half of the 5th inning. After this on Bobcat TV. Tori O'Brien leads off the bottom of the 5th inning as we welcome you back to the Ohio softball field. Alongside Chloe G, I'm Sam Hyman. A crucial conference matchup between these two teams, the Bobcats and the Rockets. Ohio is tied for first in the MAC at the moment with Miami and Central Michigan. Toledo is on the outside looking in right now. The top 4 teams make the MAC tournament. Toledo is in 7th place. And they're running out of time. They only have 1 series left in MAC play after this one. Ohio has 2. O'Brien whacks this foul left side. And the count's 1 ball and 1 strike to the junior second baseman.
Mentioned earlier, Tori O'Brien just having some sheer speed on her side. Unfortunately, earlier she got out to center field, but she's still showing the aggressiveness, already picking up some fouls.
That's upstairs. 2 balls and a strike to O'Brien. When you're watching this Ohio softball team, you may not be able to tell right away, but if you hang around and look into that dugout, if you go to a practice, this team is so connected as this ball's bounced towards third. Vanderlucht quickly over to first, and O'Brien is retired. 5-3 put out. This group is so close. A lot of the players have told me it's maybe the closest team that they've been on, and that is such a key part to building a team to get to the point where they have a chance to win a championship.
Yeah, I agree. You can't be on a team if there's drama, if you don't get along with your teammates or your coach. I think having that good team chemistry is one of the most important things, especially in college athletics.
Yeah.
You're spending so much time with these girls every day.
Yeah, going on the road, it's been a grind. Belle Hummel at the plate for the Bobcats, and that's upstairs. Hummel is 1 for 2. She was caught stealing back in the 1st inning. And again, we talked about it earlier, but Miami and Central Michigan, if you're scoreboard watching, if you're paying attention to the league outside of this matchup, as Hummel whacks this one into center field. Belle Hummel has her 2nd hit of the game. If you're watching around the league, you're going to want to pay attention to Miami against Central Michigan this weekend, a crucial series between the Chippewas, who have won 8 in a row, and the Red Hawks, who have 27 wins, the most overall wins among any team in this league. Yasmin Logan steps to the plate with 1 out. Looking for her first hit of the game, and that is on the outside corner for strike one. Belle Hummel was caught stealing back in the first. We talked about that. She is going to probably still be fairly aggressive in this situation. That's grounded left side and foul. Boy, I tell you what, there have been a lot of ground balls right on that chalk.
Yeah, I was going to say, shoo, another one. I mean, and Vanderlucht she's trying to eat him up as much as she can over there. Earlier, the one that she got from Tori O'Brien, she was playing really far in. And, I mean, on the hot corner, that can be a little bit scary at times. But she's doing a stellar job.
Belle Hummel getting a massive jump at first base. 1 ball and 2 strikes with 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Ohio was down 1-0, but not for a long time. Yasmin Logan drives it into left center field. That's down. Back-to-back singles for Ohio. And now Alexis Daw comes to the plate. So Logan has her first hit of this game, and now all of a sudden it's a situation where if you're Aaron Hunt, you cannot afford to let this lead grow given how good Skip Miller has been in this game for the Bobcats.
Yeah, and we've mentioned Alexis Daw kind of all season long. She's one of the biggest forces for Ohio, and she's not somebody that you want to face right now if you're Toledo, especially with only 1 out. She has just really grown in her position hitting this year, and
yeah,
she says a lot of that is because Coach Brown is a certified mental performance coach, and she's been really taking advantage of the services.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, I asked Coach Hall, why is Alexis Daw such a good hitter? And that's one of the first things she mentioned is that she takes the time to go chat with pitching coach Derek Brown and get insight on the mental aspect of sports and the mental aspect of the game. It's certainly a luxury to have. And some of those habits include, having what are your last thoughts before you enter that batter's box? What's going through your mind? Or your breathing. That mental focus is critical. And then Coach Hall went on to say, early on, she just had to prove it to herself. We know she's good. She has to prove it to herself, and I think she certainly has, given what she's done so far this season as she draws a walk. That's her second walk of the game, and now the bases are loaded with only 1 out for Emma Hoffner.
It's her 14th walk on the season, about kind of the midway point for the Bobcats, but Coach Hall takes a trip out here. Probably going to be getting a pinch runner.
Yeah, that will be the case. Alexis Daw will come out. And
Lauren Uhas.
Yeah, Lauren Uhas, the sophomore, will pinch run. So Ohio with an opportunity to add to this lead.
Base is loaded for Emma Hoffner.
Yeah, Hoffner singled her last time up.
Yep, she was able to score on the Shelby Wessler home run.
This is popped up right behind the circle, and Aaliyah Mara makes the catch. That is got to be frustrating for Ohio, unable to get a productive out. Now 2 away for Analia Paoli.
Paoli struck out her last at bat.
Yeah, in a weird at bat that we felt like kind of got extended when it shouldn't have.
Yeah.
But she's looking to do some damage here, though. One of the best hitters on this team. 35 RBIs this season. Tied for 4th in the MAC. 1-0. And that's inside for ball 2.
Yeah, you're right. Her last at bat was a weird one. We don't know exactly what happened. We think the umpire might have forgot the count or something, but I think it kind of threw everyone off a little bit. So hopefully she's able to bounce back here.
2-0 is whacked on the ground towards short. Griffith fires to first in time. That was a tricky spot there with Yasmin Logan running right in front of Griffith, who stayed focused, locked in, and that ends the inning. So Ohio strands the bases loaded in the bottom of the fifth, still with a 2-1 lead as we march into the top of the sixth after this on Bobcat TV. Back here at the Ohio softball field. Beautiful day for softball as we move to the top of the sixth inning with Chloe G. I'm Sam Hyman. Chloe, what's been your biggest takeaway so far from this game? Bobcats lead by a run.
Biggest thing right now for Ohio is they're getting hits, they're getting on base, but
Right.
they're not scoring. They're leaving their runners out there. 6 so far left on base, and bases loaded last inning. That's not what you want to do, especially this late in the game.
Now they do have the lead, like I mentioned just a moment ago, and their ace Skip Miller in the circle. But like you said, things get tight late in the game, and Bobcats have had opportunities to make this a larger and more comfortable advantage.
On the flip side of that, Toledo, they need to find their groove a little bit with the offense.
Leah Munson hits that foul. Yeah, this Toledo team has not hit the ball well in this game. They didn't have a base runner through the first 3 innings, and then had 2 singles in the 4th and 1 in the 5th.
They've had 4 strikeouts so far, which is interesting considering they are one of the best teams in the MAC regarding strikeouts.
Yeah, they only had 11 strikeouts offensively in their last 5 games, which is barely 2 strikeouts a game. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Leah Munson, the senior who is 0 for 2 from Harrison Township, Michigan. Looking to continue her hot hitting from last series. This is high up in the air to right field. CC Keidel battles the sun, and that's out number 1 here in the top of the 6th.
I really liked to see Leah Munson just turn that corner and keep running on to second as if you never know what could happen.
Yeah.
It could have been dropped out there, and I think a lot of times, sometimes base running, you can kind of forget that and get a little bit lazy on the bases, but I like to see that she was staying aggressive.
Here's Anna Dixon, 5th-year senior. Second on the team with a .336 batting average and has a ton of speed. First on the squad in steals, as that's in there for a called strike. Dixon started her college career at Division II Hillsdale in 2019. And now at Toledo.
Dixon, the lone Rocket to score so far today.
Yeah, she scored on a wild pitch back in the 4th inning. That misses low, 1 ball and 1 strike.
She got a single also back in the 4th inning. On the infield hit to Sid Grine, where she had that stellar catch with her glove.
Sydney Grine and Belle Hummel have been very much a factor defensively. They've been busy.
Yeah, it seems like almost every other hit's going out there to Belle Hummel, but
Skip Miller in the circle readies and delivers the 2-1. It's blasted into right center field. Logan retreats and snatches it for out number 2.
Wow.
So, yeah, Yasmin Logan going to her left, going to her right. Really good range out there in center field.
Yeah, I thought for sure whenever I saw that ball jump off that bat, I thought for sure that was going to be in the gap there for Dixon, but you never know with these Ohio outfielders. They're showing great range out there, all 3 of them.
Jenna Kroll, DP, hitting third today for Toledo. 1 for 2 today, and she lines that one right back to Skip Miller. Give me that. Oh, what a catch. And that will end the 6th inning. Skip Miller locked in the circle here today. My goodness, was she ready for that laser from Jenna Kroll. 3 up, 3 down. We go to the bottom of the 6th after this. It's 2-1, Ohio in front on Bobcat TV. Well, if you just missed it, we apologize. You missed a Sports Center type of play from Skip Miller, the pitcher for the Bobcats. Chloe, that was an unbelievable catch in the circle on a line drive where she had very little time to react, but she made the catch to end the inning.
Yeah, and she just made it look easy, man. It's almost like it just landed in her glove, and she sat down. She said, yep, I did that. Got them out of that inning. It was just beautiful. Skip Miller's had a great day. Here's
Sydney Grind, who steps in and takes a strike, 0-1. Aaron Hunt against Skip Miller. That's been the duel today in the circle. Hunt comes in with a sizzling 2.35 ERA. That's best in the MAC. Skip Miller with a 2.73 ERA. But one of the things that really separates teams, especially at this level, is depth in the circle, and Ohio certainly has depth in the circle. It's not just Skip Miller, it's Kylie Kofelt, the transfer from Duke, who has been very impressive to watch this season, and a lot of her games, if you go back and track her Game 2 starts, they've been blowouts because Ohio's offense has really erupted. So sometimes when you see that, you don't necessarily pay as much attention to the pitcher involved, but she has done her part as Sydney Grind loops this one into left field. It's a leadoff single for the junior shortstop to begin the bottom of the 6th inning. And then you have Keegan Moore as well. So the depth of this pitching staff for Ohio makes them that much more tough to compete with in a series.
Yeah, exactly. And like you mentioned with Kylie Kofelt, it just seems like they have their very different pitching styles, but they're both successful with their team. And I think that just shows that the rest of the team trusts both of their pitchers. They know what they have to do, and the pitcher relies on the rest of them too to get things done, where if they're struggling at, offense, their defense is going to show out. We've seen it today.
Here's Shelby Wessler, who launched a 2-run homer her last time up with 2 strikes to give the Bobcats a 2-1 lead back in the 4th inning. She is 2 for 2 in this game.
Taking 2 balls already. Ohio with the runner already on base.
And that is inside for ball 3. Shelby Wessler, freshman from Marion, Ohio, out of River Valley High School. She is picking up right where she left off in the last game, which was, seems like a long, long time ago on April 15th. She went 3 for 3 in that game with a home run and an RBI. That was at Northern Illinois. Ohio only ended up playing 2 games against NIU because of some weather issues in the final game, as this is grounded foul.
Yeah, Wessler seems to just be, settling into herself, and she's starting to, peak at the right time.
Yeah, and she hasn't let that long layoff affect her. She's used it to continue that momentum. Sometimes you have that long break, it can kind of negate momentum that you were having at the plate when you come back, but she has picked up right where she's left off and now is aboard for the 3rd time, this time a walk.
Yeah, she had the home run last game, the home run already this game. Before that, the last one that she had was all the way back on March 26th. So she's really starting to settle in within herself and pick things up.
CC Keidel, sophomore right fielder, steps in for the Bobcats looking for some insurance. They are 3 defensive outs away from winning this game as Vanderlucht fires to first in time. Productive out, though, from CC Keidel as Sydney Grind moves to 3rd and Shelby Wessler at 2nd base now. And that'll bring up Tori O'Brien.
Yeah, she did her job on that one. She might have pushed it just a little bit too far to Vanderlucht, but move the runners into scoring position for Tori O'Brien. And Coach Hall is talking to the umpire yet again.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a pinch hitter here. Tori O'Brien goes back into the dugout.
Let's see.
With runners at 2nd and 3rd, too, this is a critical spot as it is Casey Branch. The senior will have a massive opportunity here. Branch has played in 21 games this season, 5 for 20 at the plate.
Branch, one of those players that she's not playing every game. So whenever she does get her opportunity, she has to capitalize on it. And I kind of think that might be what Coach Hall is thinking right here. See what she does with these 2 runners. See if she's able to be productive. Really prove herself here.
And that's fouled off. Strike 1.
So he's still on the page, like if you click their
Showing her aggressiveness.
Yeah,
early.
you like to see that, especially coming off the bench here, trying to make something happen right away. Branch awaits, and that's up and away for a ball. Branch is from Villa Park, California, a senior.
The last time Branch played was against NIU in their last series. She went 1 for 1 with a double.
Yeah, and drove in 3. So cleared the bases on that double.
Yeah, that's got to feel good. And although that was 9 days ago, see if some of that momentum can still continue to carry over here for her. She's showing the aggressiveness early. Already got 2 strikes on her with 2 on. 1-2
the count, 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th. And that is just outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Casey Branch, who is pinch hitting in the 9 spot for Tori O'Brien. 2-1 ball game in favor of Ohio. Trying to get off on the right foot in this series. These 2 teams will be right back at it tomorrow for a doubleheader as Branch swings. It's in the dirt. So Reed throws to first for the out, and there are 2 down. And now Belle Hummel will come to the plate. Here's another chance, Chloe. Remember, going back to the 5th inning, Ohio had the bases loaded and did not score. Now they have runners at 2nd and 3rd. Can they take advantage of this situation in a game that is only separated by a single run?
Yeah, and this is where it really comes down to it. Belle Hummel's had a great day so far, 2 singles.
Hummel takes inside for a ball, and the count is 1-0.
That was a pretty close pitch, I'm going to say. Heard a little bit of booing from the Toledo side of the stadium, but she didn't like it. You can see the third base kind of pulled in a little bit on her.
And Hummel knocks this one foul left side. 1 ball and 1 strike. Ohio has 2 more max series after this one. Again, the doubleheader to wrap up this midweek against Toledo tomorrow, and then they'll play at Western Michigan this weekend as that misses up and in for a ball. 2-1, and then the Bobcats will conclude their conference slate the following weekend against Buffalo. 2 balls and 1 strike with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Grind at third, Wessler at second. Hunt delivers on the outside corner, strike 2. Do you feel like as a slap hitter it's more challenging to tell whether a pitch is going to be a ball or a strike?
Honestly, I don't know. I've never had any type of experience with that, but I don't know.
You can imagine it might be a little bit more challenging just because you are moving and then having to think while you're moving.
Yeah, I commend all slap hitters. I mean, I think it's awesome. I think it's an awesome part of the sport.
Yeah, it is a cool element for sure. 2-2 pitch. Hummel knocks it foul.
But you're right. They do have to just have a little bit quicker of a recognition, quicker reaction time. I think these last couple ones, she's been a little bit late on the ball, hence them fouling off to the left side.
2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. In the bottom of the 6th inning, Ohio clinging to a 2-1 advantage. Here's the pitch, and that's outside, full count.
Nice quality at bat here, like we mentioned earlier, right here for Belle Hummel. But I don't think Aaron Hunt's going to let her get away easy, not at all.
A graduate student delivers, 3-2, waved at it, missed, strike 3. Fist pump from Aaron Hunt in the circle. And she does what she does best, the strikeout. Second all-time at Toledo in career strikeouts, more than 600. And now Ohio will need 3 outs to win this game. We go to the top of the 7th inning after this, 2-1 Bobcats on Bobcat TV. Top of the 7th we go here at the Ohio softball field in Athens, Ohio. Alongside Chloe G, I'm Sam Hyman. And what has been a very intense game since the first pitch was thrown. A pitcher's duel between Skip Miller and Aaron Hunt, and it has lived up to the billing. As now the Bobcats and Skip Miller need just 3 outs to win this game. Riley Moore, Aubrey Reed, Lauren Erickson due up here for the Rockets. And the top of the 7th, it starts with Riley Moore. And the first pitch is fouled back. What has impressed you the most about Skip Miller today in the circle?
Just her ability to attack the zone. I mean, she has just done absolutely phenomenal, and she's forced, what is it, 4 strikeouts so far. I think that's a really awesome feat, and her just able to hang in there with the batters. I think she's having a great outing today. It's nice to see a coach keep her in the whole entire game and not use any subs.
Yeah, I think the other thing that comes to mind when looking at her line is she hasn't walked a batter yet in this game. She has struck out 4, which brings her strikeout total this season to 97. but 0 walks.
Yeah, she's walked 64 batters this year.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Riley Moore, the senior first baseman for Toledo, who has the best batting average on the team, a .350 clip coming into this game.
Best batting average for sure, but she hasn't had the most successful outing, but that doesn't mean she won't do something right here.
We'll see. Here's the 1-2, and that zips way outside. Count is 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I think one of the most important things Skip Miller has done is just been able to work that outside corner, like I mentioned earlier. She just has a way of keeping her pitches out there.
The 2-2 is swung on and missed for strike 3. 5th strikeout for Skip Miller. And that's the first out of the 7th. A couple of other midweek MACtion softball games going on right now. Miami, a team that is tied atop the Mid-American Conference standings with Ohio. They lead Ball State 3-0 in the 6th inning. And Central Michigan leads Bowling Green 4-0 in the 5th as Aubrey Reed pops this one up. Shelby Wessler right there, the third baseman, and quickly now 2 away. Toledo is down to its final out of the game.
Wow, those were a quick 2 outs. Blink and you miss it almost. Lauren Erickson coming up. Pressure's got to be on, and I think this is one of those moments you just got to breathe. Tell yourself you just got to do your job.
Skip Miller dialed in right now. She delivers, and this is popped up left side and hits the net. Strike 1.
Lauren Erickson, extremely smart in the academic side of things. She was academic All-MAC last season and on President's List with a perfect 4.0 GPA, and I'm sure some of that translates over onto
yes.
the fielding, onto the field, I should say.
That's also quite impressive, what you just outlined.
Extremely, extremely, especially being an athlete, like, whew.
Not easy. 0-1 is outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, the Bobcats are 1 out away from snagging this series opener, one that has featured very little bit of offensive support. Ohio has 7 hits in this game, but only 2 runs. Toledo has only 3 hits.
I think for Miller, being able to limit them to those hits is very impressive. And for Toledo, being able to limit those runs, it's just been a great all-around game.
2-1 pitch is grounded foul, and now the Rockets down to their final strike. And in a game, too, where Ohio has left 8 runners on base, I'm sure that's something that Jenna Hall will talk about with her team.
Yeah, I mean, they have to see each other again twice tomorrow, so they won't have too much time to dwell on it, but I do think it's something they need to take notice of and kind of remember when they go in tomorrow.
2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs. Here's the pitch. And that's knocked in the air, second base side. Tori O'Brien makes the catch, and that is the game. The Bobcats win it 2-1 over the Toledo Rockets and pick up their 15th conference victory of the season. Ohio staying the course, trying to fight their way to a regular season crown as we hit the home stretch of the regular season. Chloe, your final thoughts?
Amazing, amazing defensive showing out here. There weren't a lot of hits. There weren't any errors on either side. 2 great pitchers. It'll be really interesting to see what these teams can do tomorrow, especially when they have their other pitchers in.
It certainly will be fun to watch. Well, that does it for us today. Again, your final score, Ohio wins it 2-1 behind a 2-run homer from Shelby Wessler, who has been hitting the ball very well of late. For my broadcast partner, Chloe G., and our great crew, I'm Sam Hyman. We say so long from the Ohio softball field. 2 games coming your way tomorrow. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, and have a great rest of your day.